ভালো আছো?
সামনে যাবে, তুই সামনে তুই সামনে
ঢুকবি না, শোনো এটা রাজদীপ ঢুকবি না।
হ্যাঁ কথা
प्रोग्राम है फॉर दिस I just want to make a few Good morning, sir. I am personally very grateful.
Correct. That day you told me.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. হয়তো আমি অফিসের সঙ্গে দাঁড়িয়ে আছি কিন্তু সবাই এসে গেছে everybody is here let somebody else is there and we come
এখানে নেই স্যার
and Pranay Chaudhary why they are not here
প্রিন্সিপাল স্যারকে ডাকতে বলছি প্রিন্সিপাল স্যারকে
principal Pranay Chaudhary Mr. Nagar solve all
बोल दिया मिसेस सबको बोल दिया
अटल मैडम ने स्टूडेंट्स के वाला एखान থেকে সরতে
sir principal को बोलो welcome
ফ্রন্ট রোতে কেমন আছে
Pradeep Agrawal नमस्कार
गुड मॉर्निंग
हैं अच्छा वही है ना दो तीन मिनट पे कर लेते वो तो फोल्डर में लिस्ट डाल देते हैं प्लास्टिक वो एकदम
আমার মুখের উপর
पहले
Good morning, ma'am.
देखेंगे नहीं इतना तो मिलेगा वेरी गुड
Now I hand over the forum to Sri Sitaram Sharma.
Thank you. I am aware that most of the post-inaugural or the post-lunch sessions, the attendance goes down, but it doesn't make any difference as long as attendance goes down if the attention remains the same. So I'll invite the attention of all of you. The subject is really very important and very interesting, and I think this point was stressed in the inaugural ceremony by all the speakers, by the governor, by the education minister, by the education secretary, that this conclave is taking place immediately after this SAARC summit, and being organized by an educational institution, it makes much more important involving the students. In fact, I'm not the right person to moderate this panel discussion because I don't represent any SAARC country. But anyway, as I have also some connection with the educational area, being the chairman of Maulana Azad Institute of Asian Studies, so I can claim a little right to moderate this session. But then we have another very distinguished participants with us, and I hope the Consul General of Nepal will be joining us, Mr. Gimire. And now friends, let us first, I request my colleagues that let us first have the rules of the panel discussion. All of you can speak as long as you want, but not beyond 7 to 8 minutes. And I'll make my initial comments very briefly, and then I think I'll invite the other participants to make their contribution. Friends, let us begin by acknowledging and appreciating the fact that while many regional arrangements, you see these are all regional arrangements approved by the United Nations, are flourishing worldwide. Whether we talk of European Union, whether we talk of ASEAN, whether we talk of BRICS, there are many regional arrangements. They're all flourishing. But the SAARC, the South Asia Association for Regional Cooperation, is already considered to be not very effective. And this is a fact we will have to admit. We have to begin with that. But why? It's mainly, they say that mainly because of the not very good relations between the two major members of this SAARC, India and Pakistan. And when this idea was initiated by the president of the then president of Bangladesh, so it was expected that this forum will provide an opportunity for all these important countries of the region to work together. At the same time, most of these regional associations, they start with the economic cooperation, and in case of SAARC, the main issue was that this lack of complementarities of the trade between the SAARC member countries. Most of them are either underdeveloped or the developing countries, and their trade is almost on the similar lines. So the complementarity was missing as far as the SAARC was concerned. But the important thing was that the SAARC shares very common social and economic problems, and including those related to the education. Literacy rates are poor in most of these SAARC countries, poor infrastructure, substandard quality of education, heavy dropout rates, and inadequate funding. These are the problems faced by almost all the SAARC countries. And when the SAARC was set up, they identified 15 areas of cooperation. And one of them, most important, was the development of the education. And you know that importantly, that 1/4 of the world's population resides in South Asia. So it's a very populous region of the world, and at the same time it's very rich, but despite being rich in the human resources, but it lacks in the sophisticated skills, and the number of unemployed keeps on rising. So these are very relevant to the education. And then moreover, we also know, which was also mentioned by Sri Vivek Kumar, that education is an essential foundation for the social and economic success of the global economy. As people say that it has become this knowledge world, which is very important. The focus of the knowledge economy in the present globalized world is accepted and admitted. Now, we also know that the gross enrollment rates in the SAARC countries are very poor, and the participation of women is more or less. But I'm very happy that here I find more girls and women are present in this auditorium. This is a matter of great satisfaction. But then you know the spending on the education, that also ranges from 2 to 4% and of GNP. Whereas the UNESCO standard for spending on the education is about 6%. And you see, but then what we find that although the idea of educational cooperation was floated by the SAARC in its first summit, but then what we have seen that but little development has taken place since the formation of the SAARC. Now, what kind of cooperation is possible between the SAARC or among the SAARC countries? It can be between the governments, it can be between the institutions, between the staff, between the students of the two countries, and at the same time, but the government-to-government level cooperation is very important and very relevant. And here, the student in the teacher exchange program, conducting international workshops, and then the to liberalize the rules regarding the establishment of educational institutions in different countries, and the visa rules so that the students can go to other countries easily, and the scholarship programs can be organized, and the giving financial assistance for the setting up of the university. As the higher education secretary mentioned, that the number of universities have gone up in West Bengal during last few years, and here also we find that in fact in the SAARC countries, illiteracy was identified as the major cause of the social and economic development of the region, and that's why the SAARC started a SAARC chair, SAARC fellowship, and they set up number of regional centers for studies and all that. Now you see, this intra-regional investment is another means of engagement in regional educational services, and what we find that primarily most of the students from SAARC countries they come to India for their education, and also the investment in the education also flows mostly in one direction from India to other South Asian countries. But then what we find that till now this kind of investment is very limited, and limited in terms of the sectorial orientation as well as the range of the institutions. They are mostly confined to the medical education and the information technology. Now, except that what we find that some of the institutions which have been set up, like in Kathmandu, and like this Delhi Public School franchisee in Kathmandu has been set up, and then they have also the NIIT has also opened their branches in Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh. And I think the most important development which has taken place in the field of education is the establishment of the South Asian University in the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, in the JNU campus, and this was an idea of the former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh, and this university is jointly funded by the members of the SAARC, and its objective is to harness potential of the talented brains of this region and to promote cutting-edge scientific and the technological research by providing a forum where academics, scholars, researchers and the gifted students can work together in the service of the human advancement. Now, India's role in this being the largest country is very important, and the average literacy rate in South Asia has to be increased, because most probably, except the Maldives and Sri Lanka, who have got the highest adult literacy rate, I think like this Maldives has got about 99%, and Sri Lanka has got 98.11% literacy rates, and India has got about 74.4%. Now, you see, unlike other SAARC countries, India has the second largest higher educational sector in the world. This is very important. And here it is not only the role of the government, even the role of the private initiative like your institution has played a very important role. Right, like the number of the Indian universities have increased from 18 at the time of independence to 687. So now, and moreover, we have got about large number of, in addition to these universities, which are state universities, central universities, deemed universities, private universities, all kind of universities are there, and the numbers have increased very largely. And there are about 45,000 colleges all over India. Now, India is also the highest educational scholarship providing developing country in the world, because there is a comparison between the developed countries and the developing countries where India ranks first. And India's this comparative advantage in the education is the strong technical base of higher education in the form of world-class IIT, as we all know, and the regional engineering colleges. And I think we get a number of students from almost all the SAARC countries, I think Nepal sends the largest number of the students, and the last available figure is about 1,821. And I think we don't have the representative of Nepal, he will explain on that. And then you know that Calcutta had always a very special place. Like you see that in many of the SAARC countries, and Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, in all these countries, you see they were educated in Kolkata. Like many from the Sri Lanka and Maldives, they went to the university in Chennai. And so India had a very old relations with them. And I think basically there are two parts of the discussion, panel discussion. One is on the education and one is on the culture. And with these very brief introductory comments, then I'll now invite the other panelists to make their contribution. And let me start with the representative of the Honorary Consul of Sri Lanka, Dr. Vijay Singh. Dr. Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, and good afternoon, friends. When we talk of educational and cultural links between SAARC countries, the links between India and Sri Lanka go back to Ramayana days, perhaps the oldest links between two countries. In fact, the Sinhala nation is supposed to have arisen from the exile of Prince Vijay. Most of you must be familiar with the story of Vijay Singha. He was the son of the king of a kingdom in this area, which was in the area currently West Bengal and Orissa. In fact, some scholars have pinpointed the headquarters of the kingdom to be Singur. I do not know whether it is really tenable, but there is historical research to show the headquarters of Prince Vijay was in fact in Singur. Be that as it may, we know from fable that he was exiled with his followers in 3 ships, and the ships got shipwrecked off the coast of what is now Sri Lanka, and he and his followers went ashore, and later they intermarried with the Veda people, the indigenous people of Sri Lanka, and it is this intermarriage which gave rise to the Sinhala nation. But there is some substance to this, because even today the Sinhala language is very close to Pali, not close to any of the other South Indian languages, but close to Pali, which was the language spoken by the common people in what is now West Bengal and Orissa. The original links from Prince Vijaya's days were further buttressed by the spread of Buddhism, again from this region, and Buddhism is now the national religion in Sri Lanka, a very staunch Buddhist, and in fact a cutting from the Mahabodhi tree has been taken to Sri Lanka, and it has given a tree there, a Mahabodhi tree there, which is in fact flourishing even more than the Mahabodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. In modern times, the educational and cultural links center, as expected, around study of Buddhism and the study of Pali, and also Ayurveda, which was originally imported to Sri Lanka from Kerala, has taken very strong roots in Sri Lanka. And today perhaps the system of Ayurvedic education and treatment in Sri Lanka is more advanced than anywhere else in India. The current educational and cultural links have been further buttressed after the end of the civil war in Sri Lanka, because now India has emerged as the biggest destination of tourists into Sri Lanka, surpassing the countries of Europe or North America or other countries who are main sources of tourism. India is the biggest source, and more than 1 million Indians visit Sri Lanka every year for purposes of tourism. And when they go there, especially the Indians, there is so much to see. For example, I'll just give a few examples. We all know the story of Hanuman cutting the Gandhamadam Parvat and rushing it to Sri Lanka for the sake of the medicinal herbs on the mountain. And these medicinal herbs were used to treat Rama's army. And there is a place in Sri Lanka called Polonnaruwa, which literally means dropped from the sky. We know that Hanuman is supposed to have dropped the mountain Gandhamadam Parvat from the sky, and Polonnaruwa literally means dropped from the sky. And what is really surprising is that the plants which are to be found in Polonnaruwa, not found anywhere else in Sri Lanka or South India, but are found in the Himalayan mountains. So this is really strange. How could the plants from the Himalayan mountains get transported all the way to one particular spot in Sri Lanka, bypassing the rest of southern India? Also, as further proof of the old cultural links, there are caves in Sri Lanka in a place called Sigiriya, and the caves have paintings in them which are almost exactly the same as the paintings in Ajanta and Ellora. And historians date the antiquity of these paintings to be more or less the same era, historical era, as Ajanta and Ellora. So it must indicate that there were close cultural links so many years ago, 2000 years ago, between Sigiriya and Ajanta and Ellora. So what we perhaps need to look at in today's situation is to re-establish the close educational cultural links which have been there in the past, but which perhaps in the intervening years have got somewhat loosened, but they can be re-established as part of the SAARC initiative and will help to draw the SAARC countries together again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Now request Dr. Manendra Shah. He's an educationist. He is with the Calcutta University and also Vice Chairman of the West Bengal State Council of Higher Education. And he'll be speaking about on the subject with a special reference to India. And I think which is very important because, as I mentioned, India being the biggest country member of the SAARC, India can play a very important role in developing these educational and the cultural relations in SAARC. Dr. Shah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sri Sitaram Sharma is the Honorary Consul of the Belarus and the Chairman of the Executive Council, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies. On my left, he is Dr. Rovijit Sen. I think also he is now the Honorary Consul of the Consulate of Sri Lanka, but he has got a very good academic history. I know him for the last around 30 years because he has got a long association with my department of the Department of Commerce of the University of Calcutta, and he is an excellent and a brilliant academician in our country. Dr. Chandra Kumar Ghimere is the Consul General of the Consulate of the Nepal. Who is he? Deputy Dukpa is there. Professor Mola Banerjee, Professor Koira, and other teachers present here, my dear students. Actually, I feel honored here to be one of them because I am the odd man out because of the consul generals are being there and I'm an academician. First of all, the topic that is being selected for the conclave is very, very encouraging on our part because we are here for the purpose of awareing our students. Although I was thought that there are a number of participants from the other SAARC countries so that we can be able to discuss some of the issues that why India is taking the edge over the others, rather why the other countries are not coming forward. Because if we go for these the statistics, we will find that most of the students from the SAARC countries are coming in India. Rather, the percentage is very, very few when you take into consideration the percentage of the students going to any other SAARC countries. So we can be able to discuss together so that there may be a platform that why don't we have each and every country can be a center of excellence so that the students, they can be able to go there and have their base of their knowledge in those countries because they have, each and every country has that demographic dividends are being there. And if we can be able to entitle or encash those dividends, our students can be benefited. But as I am representing India, I have to give certain things on this, what is happening in the higher education in India, in West Bengal, and then what the SAARC countries are being there, so that we can be able, the students can be able to have some awareness about these subjects. As you all know, higher education is the indispensable foundation for the social and economic success of a global economy. And now the focus is on knowledge economy. And if you go for this, getting the fragrance of the benefit out of this knowledge economy, the most important thing we should go for giving more and more concentration of the higher education. And giving some encouraging database as is provided by the Indian Labour Organization, which predicted that in India by 2020 we have got around 116 million of workers in the age bracket of 20 to 24 years, as compared to China's 94 million. And regarding the India's dependency ratio by 2020 will be 29 years, as compared to US 40 years, Japan 46 years, and Europe 47 years. In fact, we have more than 60% of our population in the age group of 15 to 59 years. And it is opined that we must try to prepare an educated and productive workforce. In the 12th plan, ranging between this 2012 to 2017, it is focused by the government for this higher education. The focus is on 3 E's. First E for the expansion, second E for the equity, and the third E for the excellence. And our moderator has rightly pointed out regarding the GER, which is very, very important, cross enrollment ratio, which is very common to when you take this higher education, school education and other education into perspective. Suppose if you take this calculation, the calculation is being made, suppose in higher education, it is the 18 to 23 years. So it has been calculated, the age that is being involved, the students between 18 to 23 years involved in higher education divided by the number of people belonging to the same age group. But it is not very encouraging when you take India and West Bengal into consideration. I just give you some figures here. The gross enrollment ratio from 10% in 2000 to around 18% to 2012-13. But it is anticipated that there is a challenge to the government of India that in 2017 it could be reached to or we can reach it, or we can achieve that 25% target, and in 2020-2021 it would be at around 32%. Now, if you go for this, what is the steps that have been taken into consideration by the government of India from 20 in 1950, number of university, it rose to more than 700. It's around 715 according to the UGC report, annual report of 2013. Up to June 2013, we have got 700 plus universities. In regarding the colleges, we have got, in 1950, we have got 500 of colleges. Now it is reached to 35,539 to be more precise. In June 2013 as per the UGC report of 2013. And in regarding the national Indian Institute of National Importance, we have also increased. Now in terms of student enrollment, India is ranked second globally after China. And it has been said that we have got the enrollment of around 29.3 million, USA is third. USA is third, around 19.1 million. And there is an endeavor all around to go for involving access to education, because if we take that equity into consideration, expansion, I have given some of the statistics how the expansion are going to be done in the near future. And in the case of equity, the access, the word access is very, very important. If we go for this, the total enrollment in degree and diploma programs grew from 4.8 million by 4.8 million from 15.4 million to 20.2 million. The enrollment capacity of the central institution has also increased, has also doubled from 0.6 million to 1.2 million. Now we have got in the RUSA, there is a proposal, that there is a project that is being implemented by the Ministry of Human Resource Development called RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhijan. It is the outcome of the gross success of the Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhijan and Rashtriya Sarva Shiksha Abhijan. And that we have got this Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhijan. It has been implemented in 2013. It is exclusively for the purpose of expansion and the funding of the educational institution in the form of encouraging to go for preparing or instituting new universities, promoting the existing colleges to universities, instituting new colleges, and the concept of model degree colleges is very common nowadays. And it has been said around 374 economy backward countries, these backward districts have been identified where the GER is less than 12.4%. There are several initiatives are also being taken into consideration to improve the quality. The third one for this excellence, that we have got number of institutions are being there, accreditation institutions are being there. We have got a NAC, we have got the NBA, National Board of Accreditation, for the purpose of this engineering and management institutions. And for the purpose of RUSA, I am going to give you another information. For if you take these three into consideration, we have to go for more and more funding, and it has been anticipated or it has been estimated that in the 12th and 13th 5-year plan, 12 5-year plan ranging from 2012 to 2017 and from 2017 to 2022, the total amount of disbursement will be around 1 lakh crore during this 10 years regime. And it is exclusively to be given in the states and other union territories in the form of 60-40, and for the union territories in the form of 90:10. And the plan was exclusively for the purpose of higher education in India to be brought in line with and in the frontier of the global trend, first of all. Second one, it is for the purpose of improvement in the teaching learning process, arresting or reversing the inequalities so that we can be able to encourage more access, creation of additional capacity of 10 million more students, and undertake governance and regulatory reforms. Now coming to the SAARC countries, they are also making continuous endeavor through education to unleash their potential in cutting poverty and promoting sustainable development. India has been enjoying the edge over the other member countries through the advancement in the higher education. This is achieved by attracting greater number of international students from this region, as Mr. Vivek Kumar has rightly said, ek se bare do se bhale teen, because it is been said that if you want to go, what I mean to say that if you want to go for making more and more advancement, we should go collectively. In that case, it is not possible for India alone to go single-handedly. Rather, if the Southeast Asian countries, they come forward and we can be able to excel in near future. This helps in building a better understanding and cross-fertilization of the ideas through greater interaction among students, scholars, academicians, and the SAARC countries to contribute to a SAARC community. The data indicates that one third of all foreign students who study in India are from SAARC countries. I am giving you some of the information that in my department, in the Department of Commerce, we have got a management department, management masters in finance, MBA masters in business administration in finance. We have got exclusively 5 students that is formed from the SAARC countries, and we are getting all these students, all types of students from basically from Nepal and Bangladesh. And we have got number of other institutions. I know that including Heritage Business School and Techno India Group, there are a number of Bangladeshi students are coming regularly here. And it is exclusively for the purpose of investing into opening new institutions, improving teacher quality, raising research output, and creating an efficient regulatory environment. He has rightly pointed out the South Asian University in Delhi in 2010 by the member of the countries of SAARC is a significant step forward, promoting regional development in the areas of higher education. The university attracts students from all member nations and its degrees are recognized by all 8 SAARC countries. Tuition fees are highly subsidized and compensation packages have been designed to attract high quality faculty. Now, I am going to give you some of the fellowship. This is for the benefit of the students who are being there in this particular institution. If you want to go for higher studies, and if you want to get some kinds of scholarship, if you want to extend your, or if you want to be part of our fraternity, like the academician, you can be able to go for getting this, encashing these kinds of fellowship programs. We have got SAARC fellowship scheme that is being given to the 6 fellowship and 12 scholarships are offered annually to the all the students from these the members of the SAARC countries, and it is exclusively given for economics, education, environment, management, agriculture, mass communication, and other subjects. In addition, if you want to have, if you have come to our fraternity, I mean to say there is one chair is also awarded to a member country on rotation basis. There are some exclusive scholarships are also given for Sri Lanka and Mauritius. Under this scheme, 77 scholarships are offered annually. For this, 47 are given to the Sri Lankan students and 30 for Mauritius students, and it is for the purpose of undergraduate, postgraduates pursuing research towards fulfillment of PhD degree and postdoctorate fellowships as well. Then we have got Indian Council for Cultural Relations Scholarship Scheme that is also been given, and it is for the purpose of performing and visual arts, Indian classical music, dance, painting and sculpture. Technical cooperation schemes of the Colombo Plan is also been instituted here in India, and it has been given to the students of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Iran, Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries. We have got some reciprocal scholarship schemes are also being there. It is the reciprocal scholarship schemes with India and with other countries as well. And general cultural scholarship schemes and cultural exchange program is part of that is a SAARC initiative that is being taken by the member countries. And in the 18th summit, SAARC summit that is being just held at Kathmandu in 26th, 27th of November 2014, it was decided to strengthen the regional cooperation in South Asia. And it is the 2 most important considerations that have been chalked out. It is the extending bilateral development assistance program, and secondly, and during 2014 and 15, over 80% of India's grant and loan commitment are given to Bhutan, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh and Maldives. And there is another major project that is also been there, that is called the telemedicine project and the tele-education project. It is another initiative that has been taken by the government of India. Now, in respect to West Bengal, as we have been informed by the Principal Secretary here, so we have got the government of West Bengal of initiating a number of higher education, or instituting number of higher education institutions. We have got 13 during the last 30 years. We have got around another 13 have been instituted in the last 3 years. And in the form of universities, we have got 26 universities and more than 500 colleges have been there. But the most important consideration that I am going to raise some of the questions, that there is no, I do not know whether the syllabi are being uniform in nature. Because if you go for the SAARC countries, the syllabi are not very common. Another thing that is also been very much serious concern, that some of the SAARC countries, they have got the 4 years degree course, but in India we have got 3 years degree courses are being there. So if you go for the lateral entry, in India itself, because in India we cannot be able to introduce the lateral entry and credit transfer. Whether it can be able to institute these kinds of credit transfer policy, as well as we can be able to go for these, because some students, if they started their career in any of the Indian university, based on the other countries' performance, they can be able to go for any other universities in Sri Lanka or in Bhutan or in Nepal. That can be done. Another thing that is being taken up by the council itself, we have got the MOOCs program, massive open online courses are also being there. And we have got a state higher education information networking system, so that we can be able to get all the data from the different institutions in India as well as in West Bengal as well. So these are the things we have to share with the other dignitaries of the other consul generals, if they are present here. And if they can be able to give some input to our students, that will be very, very, very beneficial to our students as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Saha, for your excellent presentation as far as the education system in India is concerned. See, we all know that India has the second largest education sector in the world, and this creates the problem as far as SAARC member states are concerned. It's almost one-way traffic in the SAARC, whether it is students coming to from different countries, like whatever figures we have got, is mostly from these countries that the students are coming to India. And I think one point Dr. Saha mentioned that is also very important, because like in Sri Lanka, Dr. saying that some of the specialized honors courses are for 4 years, and which India gives in 3 years. So it saves 1 year for them. That is the reason that students come to India. Yeah, and then you know that there are other reasons also. Like we get most of the students from Nepal, also from Bhutan, Bangladesh, Maldives, and hardly any students from Pakistan, for the obvious reasons, because of the this political reasons and because of the visa restrictions. We don't get many students from Pakistan. But then you know that I think this SAARC conference should discuss and deliberate on this issue, that how this cooperation can become, like it does not remain one way, and students are going from here to the other countries also. It may be in the form of offering scholarship, and it can be in the form of developing the institutions, educational institutions, where India can play a role supporting them both financially and technically, to set up the institutes of high learning in these SAARC countries. I think that will be very important for the cooperation in the educational area. So now we have a representative from real representative, I can say, because honorary consuls are not considered to be the real representative. The real representative from the Deputy Consul of Bhutan. I'll request Mr. Dukpa to make a statement about how many students are coming from Bhutan, and what is the cooperation between India and Bhutan, and cooperation among Bhutan and other SAARC countries.
Honorable moderator, my eminent co-panelists, learned members of the faculty, and to the enthusiastic students of this Heritage Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, this is already good afternoon. Let me begin by thanking the Heritage Business School, the members of the faculty, the organizing committee, and the members of the board for extending the invitation to the Royal Bhutan Consulate to participate in this conclave. It is an honor and it is a privilege, and we thank you for giving us this opportunity. Now let me Bhutan, I think we say that Bhutan is an old nation but a young country, as we Bhutanese consider we have a history of over 2,000 years as Bhutanese, but as a nation, as a country in the modern world, we are very young, in a sense that not many people in the world and not many people in India, in fact, know where Bhutan is, who are these Bhutanese people, and so on. Now, maybe it's because we have lived in isolation for a very long time. Even like we're in the bordering areas in, for example, like Jaigong. Jaigong is, we have a twin city of Phinsiling is the gateway to Bhutan, and Jaigong is the town which is in India. And the people of Jaigong are also not aware that where Bhutan is. But anyway, so that's why we consider, of course, like we consider ourselves to be a very young country. Now, our destiny, the destiny of Bhutan, has it has been linked to the Indian subcontinent from times immemorial. We have our culture, our education system, our religion, all originated from India. And in Bhutan, Buddhism is the main religion that we have, is the main view, is the main philosophy that we have, and this originated from India, and it was in the 6th century that Guru from Nalanda University, on his way to Tibet, known as Guru Padmasambhava, he stopped by in Bhutan, and he did some meditation in a district called Taksang. And so he went to Tibet, and he found that Bhutan had a very, at the time it was known as the land of the medicinal herbs, the southern land of the medicinal herbs. So he came back, and then he propagated a lot of Buddhist philosophy and teachings in Bhutan. So it started from the 6th century, and then a flood of teachers, gurus also went from India, went to Tibet, then they came to Bhutan. And so our culture, our tradition, our architecture, all are influenced, all originated from India, from Tibet. Basically, these are the two spheres of influence that we have. Now, so till 1907, till about 100 years ago, we did not have modern education system. That was religious education, theological system of education that we had. So we did not have people who were educated in modern science and all that. So it was all religious education that was there. Then in 1907, with the founding of the first king of Bhutan, before 1907, Bhutan did not have kings. Bhutan had a feudal kind of arrangement like what used to be in Europe in the 16th and 17th century. So we had a powerful leader who would be elected as the head of the nation. So for about 200 years, we had elected leaders. We had 56 elected leaders. They were known as Debraja. They were not known as king. And so there used to be a lot of tussle and fight and regional conflict as a result of one lord becoming more powerful, and then he becomes the Debraja, and then he's been usurped by another lord who becomes more powerful. And so there was an ongoing tussle of misery and fight among all these. And it was only in 1907 that the people of Bhutan declared that we should have a hereditary monarch. So in 1907, our first king was installed as the first hereditary monarch, and now we have our fifth king, who visited Kolkata in 2010 to receive his honorary doctorate from Calcutta University. So we have the kingship, in fact, the absolute monarchy that we had started only in 1907. So our modern education system starts with the kingship, and in 1907 and thereafter, the first king of Bhutan, he started a school. It was a palace school, and from there, so he picked up about 10 people from each region, and he started a school in his palace, and then that is how the seeds of modern education was sown. And then in the 1920s and 1930s, students from Bhutan used to go and study in India, mostly in Darjeeling, Kalimpong area. Okay, and it was only in 1960s, late 1960s, early 70s, that some of our schools started. Modern education started in 1970s, and from where did the teachers come? The teachers to start schools in Bhutan all came from India. They came from Kalimpong, Darjeeling. They came mostly from Kerala. And we have a very interesting history of the first 10 teachers who were recruited. Our previous foreign minister, who was then the director of education in 1966, he went to Kerala to recruit teachers. And then he went there and he brought 10 teachers from Kerala. And so when he brought 10 teachers from Kerala, they came by train and they were dropped in Siliguri and then Hasimara, that was the nearest town. And then he dropped them in Pinsuling, that was the border town, and he left them there. And these 10 teachers had to go into some had to go in the west, some had to go in the north, some had to go in the south. And so these 10 teachers, they had to make their individual journey of about 7 days walk, 10 days walk. And Mr. Kaimal, who was from the south, he had to make the longest journey because he had to go 15 days walk from the border. So they were given some money and some porter and pony and some ration. And so why I'm telling this story is because India, our friends, they have given us a lot of help in education. Our foundation in education was laid by our Indian friends who worked in various difficult conditions in Bhutan. So in 1960s and 70s, so schools flourished, and now the colleges in the 1980s, late 1980s, when people started graduating from high school with class 10, class 12, we used to also again go to colleges in India. That was the only destination that we had. So Chandigarh used to be Punjab University College used to be a very popular destination for Bhutanese in Delhi. Then we had Delhi, and so Bhutanese students, higher education. India was the avenue from where they got the higher education system. And so even now, although we have universities, we have colleges in Bhutan, we are only able to absorb only about 50% of the student population who aspire to get into college. We are able to only absorb about 50%, and therefore the rest of the 50% are now spread out all over India. We have students in Tamil Nadu, we have students in Bangalore, we have students in Kolkata, we have students in Delhi, we have students in Himachal Pradesh, we have students in Hyderabad, we have students in Orissa. So we have students studying all over India. But of course, like the student population of Bhutan is not very big. We have about 5,000 to 6,000 students they are taking up higher education, studying in India. So in Kolkata specifically, we are grateful to the Calcutta University for extending the facilitation to admit our students. So we have not only in Calcutta University but also in a lot of private colleges here. We have about 300 to 400 students in Kolkata in West Bengal studying there in the city of Kolkata. Of course, like we have students in Darjeeling, in Kalimpong, we have students in Siliguri studying there. Now, so our education system, the Bhutanese education system is interlinked with the education system of India. We are grateful that we get this opportunity for our students to study, and we have been welcomed, and so the link between India and Bhutan in education cannot be in a better situation than what it is now. The next is what about Bhutan and the SAARC? Now, in spite of the tremendous challenge that SAARC as an association faces, I think we see that as far as Bhutan is concerned, we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Although it has been many things, although it has been slow, although we are impatient, but we have seen that for Bhutan, we have been able to take the opportunities that SAARC organization has to offer. For example, like we have students studying not only in terms of education and culture, but we have students studying in Sri Lanka, pursuing medical education. We have students studying in Maldives. We have students, Bhutanese students, studying in Bangladesh. We don't really have students going to Nepal as such, but we have a lot of cultural link with Nepal. So for Bhutan, the association has been very facilitating. It has been very helpful to open our doors in terms of the economic, not only in India, but we have Bangladesh, we have Nepal. So we have a very active cultural link, not only with India, but also with most of the SAARC countries. But of course, like Pakistan being very far away, and so Bhutan has not been really actively linked. But we have institutional linkages, and scholarships often being offered by the government of Pakistan, and so a few of our students are also have gone there, have studied in Pakistan. And now I think it is time for also Bhutan to offer the opportunity to other members of the SAARC countries. And you'll be glad to know that we have exchange program with Maldives. We have few nursing students from Maldives who study in Bhutan, and also now in some of the universities and some of the colleges in Bhutan, we have students from India who are studying in Bhutan. In Thimphu, we have in some colleges, in universities, we have students from Thimphu, from India. We have students from Maldives. We are having students inquiries being student inquiries are being made from Nepal, from Bangladesh. We also have exchange programs from this one. Now, we see that, okay, oh sorry, my time is almost up. So Bhutan offers a serene environment. I think many of you may have visited Bhutan, and you must have seen we are a peaceful country. We have serene atmosphere, and we also emphasize on education, promoting education. So I think we extend our warm invitation to Heritage School to come up and maybe establish a school in Bhutan. I think that would be a great opportunity. So not only Heritage School, but other schools in Bhutan. So anyway, so the time, things are now moving for us for Bhutan. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I sincerely apologize if I have taken more time than I'm given. Thank you.
Thank you. I think what Mr. Dukpa said is a classical example of cooperation between two countries as far as the Indian Bhutan are concerned, and also the cooperation among SAARC member states. And this is the way I believe SAARC can progress. But then I think SAARC has tremendous potential. But I think, of course, he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. But it seems the tunnel is going to be very long. And because we find that most of the summits, is more rhetoric than the actual results and the decisions are taken. And I believe that if they leave the political side or the strategic side of the policy side, they can certainly make great contribution in the field of education, culture, another area, culture, because I don't think the SAARC has got as varied culture as any region in the world. So I think we have also exceeded our time, and I'm sure that we are all feeling hungry, and so I think we should close with this for our hunger for the knowledge and go for our lunch. And I would like to thank my panelists. Thank you very much for their contribution, important contribution. And with this, we close the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sitaram Sharma, who, in spite of donning many hats, has found the time for this panel discussion. Heritage Business School is extremely grateful to you. Mr. Dr. Malayandu Saha, Vice Chairman, I will not go through the several points which he has raised. However, these points are extremely comprehensive and positive regarding exchange of students, availability of scholarships, availability of fellowships, and this is exactly in line with what has been discussed in the Council of Ministers meet of SAARC following the 18th summit. This meeting was held very recently, and these were some of the decisions taken during this conference. This will be followed by a meeting of the Vice Chancellors and the Grants Commission representatives of the SAARC countries, where they will go into the operational details following the Ministers' Conference. Mr. Dukpa of Bhutan has given a formal invitation to all of us to visit Bhutan to follow higher studies and take up fellowships and scholarships. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Abhijit Sen has elaborated on the facilities existing between Sri Lanka. He has also given us an extremely positive picture of how this whole thing started with Hanuman, which all of us know. Thank you very much, panelists. May I now request our Chairman, Heritage Business School, Shri H.P. Budia, our Executive Director, Kalyan Bharati Trust, Shri Probir Roy, to please come up to the dais for giving bouquets and mementos to the panelists. Executive Director Shri Probir Roy to say a few words.
Respected panelists, distinguished guests, my colleague and dear students. I thank you all for coming to this seminar and really making this seminar a grand success. We are all from a Heritage Group of Institutions. We are all really grateful to you and all the panelists, particularly as thanks they have given already. So, I invite all the guests and the panelists whenever they find time to come and visit Heritage and encourage us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now request the faculty of Heritage Business School and the distinguished guests to kindly assemble on the dais, please. And the students may go to the canteen. You've already received coupons. Please collect your food packets against the coupons. Thank you very much for participating in this.
We have happiness is a very
Safari trip, Yala National Park in Sinharani. Wildlife is part of it. So we saw leopards literally constantly.
পিকনিকটা মিস করে গেল।
So how long you have been teaching Thomas? So now doing
set up the first private engineering college in সব চাকরি প্রমোশন দেখা যেটাগুলো দিচ্ছি একদম আপডেটেড because we have the exchange program in Germany, UK, US, engineering we have the NGIT University,
Keep on guiding for long, and I think I will have
Everything is allowed. Ready?
Everything is allowed. The longest serving foreign minister of the world. Yes. Foreign minister, and I stayed in Paris.
No, how many years as foreign minister?
He was foreign minister. I think Rubiko was holding that record, which was broken by their foreign minister. Soviet foreign minister. Rubiko was there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir. Picture में